Hello, welcome to Breaching the Boardroom, where we actually go beyond titles and transactions to uncover grit, heart, and genius, the genius behind extraordinary leaders. I am Latina Berryhill, your host for today, and I'm very passionate about exploring what it truly takes to be a leader with impact in today's changing world. And so today, I have a very special guest, Mr. Robert Griggs. He is the president and CEO of Trinity Products. He's a man who truly leads with integrity, innovation, and impact. He's built not just a thriving company, but a culture that's rooted in people and also purpose. His book, Foundational Leadership, amazing book, is a powerful blueprint for leading with heart in this rapidly ever changing world. So, today we will explore the moments that shaped his journey. We'll explore how technology and AI are defining leadership and what every great leader should know about letting go. So, Robert, welcome to Breaching the Boardroom.
Well,
Um,
thank you very much.
Thank you. I am so excited to talk to you. Let's start here. In your book, Foundational Leadership, you talked about principles that don't just build companies, but they build people. What's the hardest personal lesson that has shaped one of those principles for you?
Well, I will tell you, if you expect everyone to care as much as you care,
Hmm.
and want as much as you want, you're going to be disappointed. But by showing people how much you care and showing people that you're willing to go the extra mile and do those things, what you're doing is doing it as an example, and then you have to turn around, and this takes maturity. And I got to tell you, it's a hard place to get to. You can't care whether that person returns it or not. Does that
Mm,
make sense? It
yes,
can't
absolutely.
be, it can't be, well, they didn't give me that back, so I'm not giving this. All right. So what you're doing is defeating the real main spoke of leadership. And leadership is I lead with values, I lead with character. If I have a flaw, I admit my flaw and I talk about it and then I work on it and I try to get better at it. And what we're seeing today is a gloss over of principles and that sort of thing, and kind of, I'm afraid, lip service. And what we really need to see is people that, as I say in the book, are you someone that walks by a piece of trash and sees it, or do you pick it up and put it in the trash, or do you throw it on the ground? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So give me the person that looks at it, sees it, and goes, that shouldn't be there, and picks it up. Now, during COVID, that was a little shaky. Okay. I have to admit, and I've
Yes.
kind of gotten over that part, and I'm back down to picking the trash up and putting it in the trash receptacle. But I want all those people, okay? And I can, whether they're the smartest person in the world or uh, I can win with those people. And the
Mm,
reason I can win is because we line up as a force. And customers in today's world, I was just doing a class at the University of Missouri for the sales certificate program, which I helped
mhm.
start about ten years ago.
Awesome.
And I talked to all the students, and this is what I was talking about in sales. Sales is really service. I'm
Yes.
here to serve you, okay?
Hmm.
And I'm not here to sell you, okay? In the process, I will tell you all the things that we do and all the things our product does that's better and what we'll do for you, but I'm really here to serve you. How do I solve your problem? How do I admit to my mistake immediately and build up that goodwill in the bank for when something goes wrong? Because trust me, it's always going to go wrong. It never goes easily. And so that's what I think about. And that takes a lot of maturity to get to a place. And the faster you get to, I don't care if they treat me like this, I know how I'm going to treat people as just a human being. You're going to get there a lot faster and your life is going to be a lot better.
Oh gosh, I absolutely love that. And you're right. It does take maturity because emotions get involved and we want to have the good things reciprocated. So I love that you even mentioned how difficult it can be, but they are foundational principles. Absolutely love that. So, if we were sitting in a time machine, headed back to the first 100 days of Trinity products, what would we see that still defines the company's DNA today?
Wow. Uh, it's really funny. I got cheated out of my commissions. I walked in to quit. My sales manager said, "I don't like these guys either. Do you want to quit and go start a company?" And
Mhm,
then Phyllis McConnell, our first employee, came with us. So there were three of us basically sitting in an office. We had $15,000 buying and selling steel, and I would say I was scared every day, but excited, and I didn't have anything. So this is when I talk to young entrepreneurs, this is one thing that I focus on. You don't have anything right now, okay?
mhm.
And so don't be afraid. I slept on a mattress. I had a lamp that was on the floor. It doesn't really matter. Everybody has those things, and is that so? It was just I knew we could do this though, because
Yeah.
it's not hard. It's being man, this is 50 years of it. Just calling and doing the right thing and then building that rapport. And then what happens is you make friends, and then friends buy steel from you, and then you service them. And then what happens when there's a problem, you work it out mutually. Sometimes
Mhm.
I have to eat the problem, which in the supplier side, it ends up being more often than not. But your really good customer eat the problem or say to you, "I can't do it this time, but I'll make it back up to you in the next order," which is how the world works.
Yes,
Just
absolutely.
being afraid. And if you're not afraid, I mean, we've gone from zero to $300 million, and I can name 10 instances where I had to pull the covers over my head and go, "Am I going to make it?" Okay.
Yeah.
And in all honesty, it never was that bad, but all of a sudden you're a human being and you get caught in that. Oh my God. And then the next morning you wake up, and it's always true. It's always better when when there's light outside, right? And you go, "Well, I'll
Yes.
get through this." And that's really it's okay to be afraid. It's okay to tell people you're afraid, and it's okay to share. And over the course of this book, I share. Once I learned the strategy, I share everything, and
Yes,
I
you do.
share the worst and the bad first.
Mhm.
Okay, because people always think it's worse than it is, and they always think it's better than it is, and it really always just runs down right down the middle of the road.
Yeah,
So I want bad news delivered really, really quickly.
I love it. So pushing through the fear, having integrity through it all, and building relationships. Sounds like those were key principles, which you've definitely said and told
Yep.
throughout the book. I absolutely love
Can
that.
I tell you one other thing that I've really gotten to lean into? And
Please,
I was
yes.
with all these, I was with all these really bright students and good kids, and man, they're handing me resumes and they're doing their elevator pitch. It's really good. They're out there learning. They've learned the basic mechanism before I ever learned it, right? And so this is a
Mhm,
great thing. But I stood there and I said, uh, "Do me a favor. Think back to what your grandmother told you to do, right?
mm,
Be kind. Always have clean clothes. Say yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. Open the door for people. Pick up the trash. Pick up your clothes. Clean your room." Those are the principles that are it. It doesn't have to be any more than that. If
yeah.
you pick up after yourself in the office, guess what? Everybody loves you. If you take care of your business with a customer, everybody loves you. Your customer loves you. And so I go back to this. It's so simple. Do what your grandmother told you to do. And that will get you through all the hard battles. And then I told all the kids there, I go, when you get in the car after you're leaving this event, call your grandmother and say, "I just had a really successful business guy say that you know how to run a $300 million business."
I'm sure if they actually took you up on that, that made her
I
that would make their grandmother smile, right?
I make them do it, and I also tell them to call their parents and say,
Yeah,
"Thank you, thank you, thank you," which, that's the same thing. Thank you is big medicine, right? And
it is.
a lot of people just don't use it enough, and it's so easy. And I ask the kids standing there, I go, "Is saying thank you a hard thing?" And they go, "Well, of course not." I go, "Is opening the door for someone a hard thing?" And they go, "Well, no." And I go through these things and I go, "Guys, these aren't hard things. They might not be instinctive to you yet, but if
Mhm,
you want to be successful, you write these 5 things down and you do them consistently, people will notice you." I said, "When you go into a restaurant or a store, do you ask the clerk, 'How was your day?' Okay.
mhm,
That's a
mhm,
trained, uh, I do it because I'm concerned and interested and I realize I can make that person's day. That's a trained skill. And guess what? That person is going to look up at you with a smile and say, "Hey, I'm having a pretty good day." And if they're saying I'm having a bad day, you're going to go, "What happened? And can I help?" And
yeah,
that's just the human part of what we want to turn into something that we want to make it more complex. And
mhm.
it's just not more complex than that.
The key human principles, like thank you and how was your day? I think sometimes in our world we get so caught up on the day to day and the things that's, absorbing our attention that we forget about the simple things, but they're so meaningful. And so I'm glad you brought that up. It's such a huge, point and key things that we should all be mindful of and remember. Um, it could be, making someone's day just by saying hello and how are you. So yes, absolutely great points and great points that we can all utilize throughout our journey.
I've got one I learned today that my wife has been telling me about for a long, long time, and and so I read an article
Hmm.
by someone who said what causes friction in most marriages, and I expected it to be money or whatever these things, is tone. Okay,
Hmm.
and my wife goes, "I don't, not regularly, but goes, I don't like your tone." So I sent the article to her and all my kids and all my daughter-in-laws, and I go, "Apparently, I'm a real offender of this, and I'm sorry, and I'm going to work on it." So it's recognizing, when I read that article, it's recognizing that and letting everybody know that I thought about it and I'm not ridiculous and I'm not being an old guy and I'm going to try to do a new trick, right?
Yes, yes, absolutely. I love that you recognize it. You and I have had multiple conversations, and when I tell you, I even said this to Marianne, you're a great leader. Um, Obviously, right? You've built a phenomenal organization, wrote a phenomenal book, but the thing that stands out most to me is your human skills. Like you are a phenomenal human being. And it's things like that. None of us are perfect. So to identify what may be, to your wife a flaw and saying,
Yeah.
I'm going to work on it is, oh my gosh, it's the best thing. So thank you for that.
It's maturity as well.
Yes, I completely agree with that. It
You get
is.
better at that at 70. You know it makes your life easier. So, but here's the thing I tell all the kids. Write down these 4 or 5 things and just work on them. And when you don't do them, just go, "Man, I could have done that." And then what they're going to start to see is when you say thank you to somebody, their eyes are going to pop up. Or
Yeah.
when you open the door for someone, you can't believe I opened the door, and I got to be honest with you, their eyes open up and go, "Well, thank you." Well, that just
Uh-huh.
made my day, and it made their day. And so
Yes.
this exchange is what builds fuels the happiness, because we are going to get bombarded with toxicity. You know what I'm saying? And so we
Yes,
just have to keep ourselves together and keep doing the right thing.
I agree. And it becomes natural. It does. Once we get used to doing those things, it becomes a natural thing. So, Robert, hearing how those foundational principles have shaped who you are as a leader really brings your book to life. It's clear that purpose drives what you do and how you do it. So I had the opportunity to tour your organization a few months ago, and I was
Okay.
really impressed uh, by how seamlessly innovation shows up. Like from the machines on the floor to the mindset of the leaders who were gracious enough to actually be our tour guides. It made me wonder how your relationship with technology has evolved and what role does innovation play in the way that you lead? And so I have a two-part question for you. When you think about AI and innovation, do you see them as tools that amplify leadership or that may replace so-called, just leadership or certain leaders? Or and here's the second part. How do you keep from how do you keep the human element at the center while staying ahead of the curve in regard
So
to
I
technology?
don't think AI is going to replace leadership. Okay.
I
I,
agree.
I think what AI is going to do is going to give leaders more of a time to be cognizant of their employees and build relationships, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
so I totally see it as doing the mundane task that we talk about at
Mhm.
work and saying, hey, I want to know how often the electricity goes to so and so volts and amps in that line. And what it's going to do for me is I don't have to worry about it. Is that motor blowing up? Is that motor going out? I've gotten a little hint that's going to happen. You're going to start to learn to have facts of that. And you're
Yes.
not going to think about and worry about that as a leader because if that motor goes out, you're going to be down for 24 hours or more. And your schedule is going to get busted. And your boss, the customer, is not going to be happy and everybody is going to be. So, what it's going to do is let you go out on the floor and spend more time with the people that are looking at iPads and robots and computers. And it's going
Mhm.
to give you actual time to build a relationship. I think we're involved in the third industrial revolution, and here's why.
Mm.
AI will give. I'm an instinctive leader that I know when I see something or hear something, I think I have a good idea about a 75% chance that I'm going to be right on this. Now, I
Mhm.
ask the question, but that comes from experience of 40 years or 30 years or 50 years or whatever it is. What happens if I got that signal immediately? If by looking at a customer's order or by looking at how our customers pay or by looking at all these different items, it sent me a report that said, here are the 10 things that I worry about as a leader. Let's
Mhm.
learn those 10 things and let's give me a scoreboard every day on those. That tells me where I need to focus and it's going to free those leaders up at time. Secondly, on robots, we even the guys in the welding trade that you saw in the shop, that is a very, very hard job. You don't think of it as lifting, but their arms are in the air and they're out of position, and it's what they call a young man's game. Let's just get it to the point where there's a robot doing it more efficiently, and that person, whether he's 60 or 16,
Mhm.
sits there and looks at it and is the supervisor of the robot, which
Yes.
is what we really want. We don't
Mhm.
want I want those guys' jobs to be I want them to be happy. I want them to come in. I want them to make a better living. I want them to have bass boats and send their kids to college if they want and do all those things. And I don't want them broken down at 50 because they've been welding for 30 years, right?
Yes.
So I don't
Yes.
think this is a bad thing at all. I think it's awesome.
Yes. So glad to hear you say that. So many leaders are afraid of innovation and afraid of AI. And so to hear you speak on the benefits, making things easier and simpler and taking the mundane task, right, and allowing AI, the machines, the automation to do that work, and actually using your employees for more efficient and effective things. Yes, that's huge. So glad that
There
you
are
get it.
things that they only an employee is going to do, right? Somebody with
Yes.
a cognitive mind, put him in that spot or her in that spot and let all the other things of bending left, up and down, and going right, and quality. I mean, AI and robots are going to be able to do quality. It is a really fearful job to be in the quality department at our company because
Hmm.
there's so many. The parts you see are huge, are they not? And you're walking around and you're doing a visual. What if you miss something? It's kind of a nerve-wracking job, and we can take AI and do quality and actually have a superior product with our quality managers and people knowing we're putting out a perfect product and catching the little bitty things that didn't happen that we met.
Yes, I completely agree with that. And I mean, it's here in the present and it's certainly our future, right?
Yeah.
And so it's the way for us to actually get ahead of the curve by really embracing it and opposed to being afraid of it, like you said, like stepping into it, embracing it, and figuring out how to utilize it to make our and the people around us, our lives easier. Um,
Well, hang on one second. Take the
mhm.
auto industry. They've
Yes,
had robots for decades. They
yes,
still have hundreds of thousands of employees. Okay.
yes,
So to
absolutely.
look at something and say, now what's simply happened is robots are now, we were looking at a robot in 2000 when COVID happened, and the robot we were looking at was 1.5 million, and it didn't make sense then. I come back right after COVID and went to the guy and said, I would buy this because I was having trouble getting employees. And he
Mm,
said, I have a 2-year backlog. And I'm like, oh my God. Well, just this year, we can get robots now for 350 and 500,000.
yeah,
Okay. So the
mhm,
costs have come down, the
yes,
technology has gone up,
mhm,
and you're going to see, I think of ourselves as a little company, but you're going to see little companies like ours, and then even companies a lot smaller than ours going, I'm going to buy a robot because guess what? It's trouble. I have trouble hiring people, and now I'm going to have a guy that goes, all I have to come in and look at this iPad and watch this. Well, I want to do that, and so
yeah,
I think it's going to solve a bunch of labor problems as well.
I agree 100% with you. And like you said, it's been around for so many years. I think we are now, as a world, really, starting to put our arms around it and really hearing more and more of it. And so to embrace it is it's smart. I want to step back for a second because when you started answering this question, you said something that is sticking to mind, and so I want to hear you talk a little bit more about this because this is a good point when I think about leadership. You said that the customer
His
is the
boss,
boss.
yeah.
Yes. Talk about that because many leaders don't look at it like that. They're the boss. And the customer is not necessarily viewed as the most important or one of the most. So please share your thoughts in regard to
Well,
that.
anybody that doesn't do that, the customer's boss and is most important, doesn't know anything about business, and that might sound mean because without a customer, you have no income
That's
and
right.
you have no reason to have employees. And so when you look at how we go about this, the customer's boss, that doesn't mean he's always right.
Right.
Okay. It doesn't mean that we don't have issues with our boss because everybody has issues with their bosses at times, right?
Hmm.
And
Yes.
so, what we say in the top of the sphere, if we take care of our boss, the customer, all right,
Hmm.
we're going to get a paycheck, okay? And how well we take care of them, a lot of times dictates how well and large our paycheck is. And then, secondly, in our hierarchy are the employees. Okay. Now, Virgin Atlantic, that guy, he does it employees and customers. And if I meet him, Branson, if I meet him face to face, I'll tell him he's wrong. And here's why. If you don't have a customer, you don't have an employee. Makes
That's
no
right.
sense. Okay.
Yes.
And so, but his concept is totally correct. So next is the employee. So it's our job as leaders to make sure we take care of our employees because the employees are the people that take care of our boss, the customer. And
Yes.
so it's our job to take obstacles out of their way. It's our job to listen to them. Do I know how to weld? No, but I want to sit down and learn enough about welding that I can make Jim and John and Betty, and we have a lot of female welders in the plant and people that you see. I want to make your job easier. So tell me what's not working, and then it comes down to a couple of other things. All right, for us, it was uh, continuous improvement
Hmm.
because by focusing on continuous improvement, guess what? We also made the employee's life better. You see a food chain in this, right?
Yes.
As you learn these skills, uh, continuous improvement makes the customer or the employee's life better, which in turn makes the customer's life better. And a couple other things that we've done is the fourth in this pillar that it's taken me probably 40 years to get to, which is the last one, no drama. Okay, and
Mm-hmm.
I probably wrote that one. I knew this was a problem, but never got it to one of our core pillars. There's just no reason for drama. Work is too hard, and so when we're very loyal to our customers and very loyal to our employees. But if you're a drama person, we coach you up, right, to say, we can't do this here because work is too hard. And
Yes.
then if you can't do it, then you just need to go on to someplace else. And so
Hmm.
that probably a decade ago, or maybe your 7 or 8 years, got added to our core principles because I leaders spend 25 or 30% of their time focusing on drama.
Mm.
Okay. What if you got to take back 20% of that? And what
Wow.
if you said to someone, we can't have drama here because guess what? I have a business to run or I have a job to do. And
Yes.
just say, you're either in or you're out. We love you. Okay. But this is how we play in this sandbox. And so those are it. A couple other core things. And I learned this about halfway in it. If you lie, you're fired
Mm.
because I can fix a mistake, but I can't fix a lie. All
Oh,
right.
yeah.
And this one got to be very tenuous with a bunch of people when we instituted this because they go,
Mhm.
well, we'll be firing everybody because everybody, I go, listen, man, we have a deal where you can recant. So if you're on the phone with somebody and out of fear or habit, you say something incorrectly that's not the truth, all you have to do is call the person back and say, hey, or you learn the real thing is, I don't know the answer to that.
Yes. I'll
Let
get
me
back.
put the phone down
Yes.
and, and go find out, right?
Yes.
And
Hmm.
we've fired some people for lying, okay?
Hmm.
And we fired some people with really big jobs for lying. And what we've learned is, again, as I say, I can fix a mistake, but I can't fix a lie. All right. And so your credibility gets lost. Your credibility gets picked up when you say, hey, I told somebody something, but I went back and corrected myself. Guess what? You look smart. Okay. You
Yes.
look like you're intelligent. You look like you have command of the room. Right. So
Yes.
that's another one. And these things are hard to do. Um, but if you stick to your guns, guess what? Everybody gets in line once they know what the rules are, okay?
Hmm.
And they live by the rules.
I love that. And when you see me looking away, I'm just taking a couple of notes. One other things that I remember is how you approach your employees, along with everything else that you've said. You actually you have given them um, you teach them business principles, like you're very
Correct.
transparent and you teach them how to actually run the business so that they understand why certain decisions are made, and it's arming them with actually being good leaders, right? I applaud that. I think that's very noble of you.
Well, I did it because it's actually selfish because I don't want all the responsibility. So here's how I do this. a book that anybody that listens to this should get is called Jack Stack's The Great Game of Business. Okay. And Jack is the founding father of open book management. And open
Okay.
book management is where you teach all the employees how business works and you teach them how you make money. They know this because they run a business, it's their household. Okay. They have a top line of what they bring in, and right below the top line is Uncle Sam. And then there's a car payment, and then there's a gas bill, and then there's all. So they really know how to run a business. And so once you teach them that, what happens is the responsibility, and then I shared the profits up to 20% of the profits with them. So what happens is the responsibility for success gets put over a broader base,
Mm-hmm.
right? And me as a leader, I have, instead of doing minute things, I can actually walk away and go into bigger places and look for more opportunity. So it's
Mm.
really selfish and it's fulfilling. And then once you add continuous improvement to that, everybody in the world should run a business this way because it is incredibly successful. It it really liberates leaders and entrepreneurs, and it gives them a chance to not have to micromanage the universe, which they can't do anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And you build systems and you build things, and the book that I wrote is just a textbook of our life and how we got from in 2000, let's see, what was that? 1993, I bought Sal out, my original partner. We sold 2.2 million. In 2000, we were at 6.6 million, which is a hefty gain, not terrible. And then in 2000, I got open book management and taught that. So in 2000 to 2010, we sold 67 million, which is a really nice gain, right? And
Good.
then in 2010, which is how we got to 67, um, I discovered continuous improvement and attached that. And so let's say 24, we're 285 million or something. You know, we've been really close to 300, we're 250 and above. So,
That's good.
but by doing those things, and it wasn't me, it was me. I was the just the orchestrator of it, right? And I
Mm-hmm.
really was just a teacher. That's all. I taught business. I taught friendship. I taught uh, that I like my employees and my employees like me, and that they're really, really important, and that we don't have a company without them. And so it, people want to really make it sound complicated, but the reason more leaders don't put all the information out there is because they're afraid. All right, they're afraid
Yes.
that somebody's going to see them and think they don't know what they're doing, which, in all honesty, they don't know what they're doing.
Right.
Half the
Yes.
This is the market changes, things go wrong, and you have to be nimble and you have to move. And this is what I say to people: don't be afraid. Would you like to go from $6.7 million in 2000 to 285 million in 224? If you would like that, don't be afraid. We
That's
went
right.
back to the very beginning when I would tell you that, you know, what was going on in my business. You're always nervous, right? Because business is a scary place, and we have 250 families that I'm in charge of that I want to be successful. So why wouldn't you be nervous or afraid? But
Right.
I have a track record in telling people the truth, being honest, being transparent, that is successful. And I know it would work. I really have or we've built a business model that will work in any business. It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
matter what the business is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now you just have to have the courage and the wherewithal and the guts to do it every single day. It's not
Yeah.
knowing what to do. Are you going to wake up and get better tomorrow? And that's a mentality.
Mm-hmm. It definitely is. Takes a lot of courage and, like you said, maturity. So as you, it's a good segue into. I want to talk just a little bit more about fear and authenticity. So every great leader wrestles with fear, right? The fear of failure, of letting people down, of maybe even becoming irrelevant. So, what's been your biggest fear as a leader, and how have you learned to like lead through the fear instead of away from the fear?
Well, you're never going to get away from it. And here's you have to have some personal habits, all right, that help you get through it. And those personal habits for me are running and biking. Uh, I'm 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 into meditation, just clearing my mind and trying to
Yes,
be calm. Um, you
yes.
know, uh, every day I wake up. Here's something for leaders that if you have fear, you should get the Secret by Rhonda Byrne. Okay, it is a story of how you get past all the negativism that is hit at you, and it gives you techniques of the way to do it. And here's what your mind is and your thoughts are magnets, and they draw either good things to you or bad things. If you're
Hmm.
thinking bad things, it's going to draw bad things. If you're
Yes,
thinking good things, it's going to draw good things. So the goal is to put your magnet, your antenna that's going out into the universe of good thought. Okay. And so
yes,
when we talk about
exactly.
employees, we talk about customers, we talk about those things. The goal is to be the good thought person because, in all honesty, people gravitate to that. All right.
Yes, yeah.
And that is a learned skill. Now, I'm a very positive cat. Okay. But I will tell you, there are times I pull the covers up over my head and go, what have I done? Why? But then I quickly rebound. But I
Hmm.
start every day with positive affirmation. I'm going to have a great day today. Today's going to be the best day I've ever had, all the time. I am so thankful for my wife, Shelly, my kids, my grandkids. I'm so thankful for, and I go through this. She says don't make it rote, but it's kind of gotten rote for me but I still like it being rote. I'm thankful for Brian Davis, our CFO. I'm thankful for the guy loading the trucks. I'm thankful for all those people, right? And I try to change the names, but I wouldn't be anything without those people. And and so what happens is I hope they get some good vibes from me.
Hmm.
And the fear of being irrelevant, I'm totally irrelevant right now, okay, in my job, right? I'm the chairman of the board, but Brian Davis has the job and he's the new leader, and I'm not going into work, and they don't totally need me. And so, but I'm not worried about that because it doesn't really make any difference, right? I go to Mizzou and I talk to a bunch of really bright eyed kids that are smart, and I know they're teachers, so I'm going to ask her to for them to raise their hands on whoever called their grandmother to see if they're listening, and if they're not listening, I'm going to send them an email and go, listen, okay? And I don't. I tell people all the time, don't wait around to the end for some big, amazing thought, because it isn't that. It's be happy, be kind, do the right thing, and that leads to success. I don't mind being irrelevant. Okay, it doesn't really matter because the only people, not the only people, but the people that I care about in my life are my wife, my kids, my friends, my grandkids. Those are the people that give me sunshine, right? And the other thing you have to remember as a person, nobody else is going to give you your work. You're only going to get it from you. Okay. So exercise, think about the positive things, uh, write down the things you want to accomplish every week and put them on your mirror and look at them and tick off the ones, and don't be mad if you don't accomplish something, right?
Right.
Leave it
Yes,
on the list for the next day. All
that's right.
right. And these are these are skills that I'm telling people about, that people told me about, that I read in books, and I've just put them into my own little course. And but here's the thing: I know it works, and
Hmm.
I know somebody will take the things I'm doing and make them better, and they'll say something to me, and I go, man, I wish I'd have thought of that, and we'll add that to ours, right? And that's how you get better, and you just keep sharpening the knife.
That's right. I completely agree. We have to motivate ourselves, and positive affirmations, especially when starting your day, is
Yeah,
extremely helpful because life hits us all and something always, throws some wrench in your day. And so starting there, it helps to get back to that place when you have something to interrupt that day. And I would beg
can
to
I give
differ.
you a thought on this that I just gave
Sure.
to my grandson? My grandson Parker is 8, and he was over the other night, and he goes, I kind of worry about he's giving me something he's worried about. And
Hmm.
I said, Let me ask you something. What makes you really happy and smile?" And he's got twin brothers that are a year old.
Hmm.
And he goes, "When Brooke smiles, I can't believe it. I just burst out and I smile." And I go, "Me too." So I said, Here's what you do. When you see something that you're feeling bad about, and I saw him put Brooks's smile in his face, in his mind, and I saw his smile pop out. I said,
Hmm.
that's all you do. You put Brooks's smile in your, or
Yeah.
Harrison's smile in your face,
Yes.
right? So if you can take that thing, and I learned that from The Secret, from Rhonda Burns, from somebody else. She interviews a lot of people that give these traits. So these are learned skills,
Mhm.
okay, that you can control the way you think. All right, you can
Yes.
control your mindset, and it's your responsibility to control it. And
Yes.
you're the only person that's going to, you cannot get your happiness from someone else. Okay.
That's
And,
yeah, I
and you
agree.
just have to work on doing it yourself.
Yes, completely agree. I want to add one more thing before we get to our final question. So I would beg to differ when you said that you are no longer irrelevant, and I understand why you said it, but I'm sure everyone within your organization feels differently, and especially within your family. So you are certainly you have so much relevance, and I think your
You know
humility
what's funny
is just
though is
phenomenal.
you have to learn how to not compete. Do you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Yes.
So uh, so y- y- that's the hard thing at the end.
Yeah.
Okay, I promise you that's the hard thing at the end. So
Yeah. I understand that. So, um, here's you have a great insight on so many things. And one of the things that I want you to share with the audience is you've built something incredible. And many leaders dream of doing the same, but few actually think about how to step away from it. And so,
Oh God, it's hard.
do you believe that every leader should have an exit plan? And what does a successful transition look like in your eyes?
So here's the thing. I wrote about that in the book, and I wrote about this in phases, right? And let's say I'm a businessman, and I realize my business is my commodity. Okay, it's my cash because I put all the money in my entire life was sitting out there, not in the bank, right? And so I have friends tell me, how are you gonna how are you gonna have a liquidity event? And a liquidity event is someone coming and buying your business, and but what they're really buying is a management team. Okay,
Mm,
so about 15 years ago, I through Vistage, and I highly recommend people get involved in Vistage. I'm sorry,
mm, I'm
um,
familiar with
get involved in Vistage, and so I built my I built my management team, right?
Mhm,
Brian Davis is the CEO. Everybody in there worked for me. The only people that weren't bootstrapped that came to our business are IT, QA, things that have specific knowledge. And so I built this because really, what are you going to do? You're going to sell your business. And even if it's family business, you're going to build your business so that there's a transition, a gap of somebody that can take it to whenever one of your children are there. And so I have a big part of that in the book, and that's part of giving up. All right. And what it means is I let people make decisions. I wrote a succession plan
mhm,
about I saw it the other day too. It was funny. I was going through some documents and I wrote a succession plan that said if Robert gets hit by a beer truck on the way to work, okay?
Hmm.
And the reason I did that is I know people that the founder has died and the business has to be given
Hmm.
away. Okay.
Yes.
The wife can't handle it. There's nobody there and it's a fire sale. Okay.
Hmm.
And so I didn't want that to happen. And my bank, nobody does this. It's dumb. They should be doing it. My bank goes, "You're the only guy I've ever seen do this." And I go, "Well, you should make your customers do this, right?" It said, "We have a $5 million life insurance policy. A million goes to the bank to pay off the debt. A million goes to Shelly, so she's covered. Blah, blah, blah." Vince calls all the vendors and says, "Robert's died, but we have insurance policies in place." So and so calls all the customers. And so it was just a plan that would make everybody be really calm
Hmm.
if there was a catastrophe. And then
Yeah.
I just kept building on it, right, with the people I knew. So, um, listen, pick up that book. You'll get one thing from it. I promise. If you're a
More.
business person, you'll get something that you'll go, "It's worth this." And just so you know, if I make any money off the book, it goes to my high school. I grew up in a small little bitty town, Charleston, Missouri, down the Boot Hill, and they need
Hmm.
there's a farming town, and they need all the help they get. So I go to the high school and I give them stuff, and I want them to be. Listen, you are who you help. Okay.
Yeah.
And the more people that you bring up, your life gets brought up. And
Hmm.
that's how I feel about it. So don't be afraid to transition and don't be afraid to be irrelevant because what that means is that you've done some successful things. Okay. And you just got it's a hard transition though. Oh my God. It's not easy. And when you want people to need you, but I have a whole different group of people that need me. The
That's right.
twins are coming over here in about 10 minutes, and
Awesome.
I'm gonna have a real tussle with 2 1-year olds here.
I'm sure it brightens your day even more.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Brooks and Harris. I'm true with Parker. When Parker said Brooks, I got the kid just has big cheeks and he's got a big smile.
Mhm.
And I go, "You're right. Brooks has got the smile, man."
I absolutely love that. Well, this has been such a pleasure, Robert. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom, your heart,
Yep.
and your journey. It's been such a pleasure to hear it all. From the foundations of leadership to the future of innovation, you have truly reminded us that great companies aren't just built on profits, like they're built on people, purpose, and courage. And for everyone listening, if today's conversation challenged the way that you think about leadership or inspired you to lead with a little more heart, share this episode with someone who needs to hear it. And if you haven't yet, grab a copy of Robert's book, Foundational Leadership, and see why his approach is transforming the way that leaders build and sustain success. Robert, please tell our audience where they can actually purchase your book.
You can get it. You can get it on Amazon, and there's an audio version. And secondly, for anybody listening, you're going to be afraid, okay?
Mhm.
Because that's just nature, all right. But the more you read, the more you study, the more. Listen, I told one of the kids the other day, and this goes for everybody:
Mhm.
buy a book, an audio book, listen to it on the way to work and the way home. Do you really need to know more about sports? Or do you really need to listen to a song? Go
Right.
learn something, invest in yourself, okay? And
Yes.
I did that for a long, long time. So you've
And it
been
is
a
such
real
an honor.
pleasure and you've been so kind to me. Thank
Oh,
you for your kind words. It's
absolutely.
appreciated.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks for your final words. Go out and purchase Robert's book. Again, the hard copy, the audio book, it is truly transformational when it comes to the foundations of and principles of leadership. I'm Latina Berryhill. This is Breaching the Boardroom, where we don't just talk about leadership, but we step into it. Until next time, keep leading with integrity, innovation, and intention.
Thank you.
Thank you.